The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Game Podcast Network is brought to you by Mark Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code MLB SGPN, get a $1,000 bonus credit. And welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It is currently Thursday afternoon, April 17th, roughly 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host of the episode, Scott Reichel, joined by nobody for this episode. Going solo again. I was supposed to be joined by Dylan, but he ended up getting busy with something, so unfortunately he could not make it. So the point is I'm going to be doing the show solo for all the games on the Friday card. Getting into the, once again, update, though, for the card so far on Thursday. Couple of day games, and I'd say some of them were competitive, some of them were not. Saw a very interesting pitchers duel between Heaney and Trevor Williams. It ended up seeing the Pirates win 1-0. So the Diamondbacks beat the Marlins 6-4. You see the Phillies are up 5-1 right now against the Giants as Hicks got destroyed in the first inning. Seattle had a crazy game against the Reds, but ended up hitting a couple homers in the ninth inning en route to winning in 10 by the score of 11-7. And Oakland, or I should say the A's, ended up beating the White Sox by a score of 8-0. As bad as the A's might be, the White Sox are 5 times worse. Damn, that team's really bad. And the Rockies made news. Speaking of bad teams, they fired their hitting coach, and I believe Clint Hurdle took over the job for now. Rockies need a lot more help than a hitting coach change. I'll tell you that much. But the point is the White Sox and the Rockies, easily the worst 2 teams in the league. And they made some news headlines today. Nothing that's going to save them. But worth mentioning, the White Sox are really bad, and the Rockies did switch hitting coaches. Anyway, before we get into any of the actual games for the Friday card, quick reminder that we actually have a great deal going on right now, a great contest with SGPN for the NBA playoffs, because the NBA playoffs are here. SGPN's running another free contest. Pick every NBA playoff game ATS, $1,000 first place prize, winner take all. Enter today at sportsgamepodcast.com/NBA playoffs, sportsgamepodcast.com/NBA playoffs to sign up for the free contest. Anyway, moving on to the card for Friday. Starting off with the first game on the card here, you have the Diamondbacks taking on the Cubs. This will be some baseball, the only day game at around 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time. For this game, you have Corbin Burnes facing off against Rhea, and the Diamondbacks are minus 135. Cubs are plus 115. For the over-under in this game, I see it being set at 9.5. Now, both teams this season have been pretty good so far this season, as you're looking at the Cubs being at 12-9, and the Diamondbacks are 12-7 after the win on Thursday. Now, Burnes this season has really not been good. He's 0-1, 5.28 ERA, and you're looking at Rhea, who's been solid, but he's kind of been, I'd say, a blend between a reliever and a starter. So his usage has been kind of inconsistent, but he did go 3 2/3 last outing. We know he did start with Milwaukee last year, so he can go distance if needed. So we'll see how long he goes in this one. Now, for the actual game itself, I don't want to lay this with Burnes. I think Burnes has been pretty underwhelming, and I do wonder how much of his actual pricing is based on name brand as opposed to actual substance. It feels like a lot because I don't think Burnes has been good, and you're looking at his outing so far this season. Against Milwaukee, he was okay, ended up going 6 innings, 3 runs, but he was 4 1/3, 4 runs against the Yankees, 5 innings, 4 runs against the Nationals, and 6 innings, 3 runs against the Brewers. So I haven't really liked what I've seen from Burnes, and I think 135 feels pretty steep, especially with the Cubs, who can't hit very well. I'll go with the Cubs, plus 115. Don't mind the over in this game. I think 4.5, I should say 9.5. I think is warranted for a total. Both offenses I like. I know Corbin Carroll stole 3 bases today, I think. Point is, though, I like how both teams are performing at the plate, and I do think that Burnes and Rhea could get into trouble here. Rhea's a pretty big contact pitcher, and Burnes has just not pitched well. So I see a lot of runs here. I'll go with the over and the underdog here. Give me the Cubs money line at plus 115 as the dog here for this one. Moving on to the next game, you have the Guardians against the Pirates. Now, for this one, you have Ortiz against Bolodzinski. And for this one, you have the Guardians at minus 125. You have the Pirates at plus 105. For the over-under, I see the line at 8.5 or 9. And I think at the end of the day, I'm looking at 2 teams that I really don't trust to hit. You're looking at the Guardians, who have been okay offensively over the last week or so, but for the most part, still not the most reliable offensive unit in the league. I'll put it that way. As for Pittsburgh, they really can't hit. They won today. That's the bright spot. They scored 1 run, but they won the game. But you're looking at who's pitching. Ortiz has been bad this season based on stats. 6 flat ERA, or 6.06 ERA. Was good last time, though. 5 2/3, 1 run against the Royals, struck out 10 guys. So maybe he's turned a corner. We'll see. As for Molodzinski, I'm not a fan of his either. 6.23 ERA, was bad last outing, though. 4 1/3 innings pitched, 4 runs. However, his only good outing of the season was against the Cardinals at home, 5 innings, 1 run. So we'll see if he can pitch well at home in this game. I think I'm going to go with Cleveland in this one. I think that Ortiz is better than Molodzinski, but it's mostly Cleveland's offense being better than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh offensively, besides Cruz, who's been hitting bombs, actually kind of funny. He had a leadoff home run today, and then nobody scored again for the rest of the game. Besides Cruz, I'm not really scared of anybody in that lineup, and the Guardians have a couple guys you could at least expect something from. Maybe not on a game-in, game-out basis, but at least a couple times a week. I'll go with Cleveland in this game. Even though the pitcher ERAs are not great, I think I'll go with the under. A total of 9 in a Guardians Pirates game, like that feels way too high based on the offensive ineptitude that both teams have here. I'll go with the under. I don't really trust either offense to show up, but I do think that Ortiz might have turned a corner last outing. I'll go with the Guardians here at a pretty cheap favorite price here at -125. Moving on to the next game, you have the Royals taking on the Tigers. Speaking of teams that can't really hit, you have the Royals, who got swept by the Yankees. They really can't hit. You have Reagans against Job. Now, for the actual money line, Royals are -135. The Tigers are +115. For the over/under, I see the line being set at around 7.5. Now, for this game, I think I might have to blindly take the Tigers. I know that Reagans has been good this season, 1-0, 2.28 ERA. Actually did shut down the Guardians last outing. He's given up less than 2 earned runs in 3 straight starts. In fact, he struck out 10-plus guys in 3 straight starts. Reagans in his last 3 starts has 31 strikeouts. So he has been just going crazy on the mound. However, Kansas City's offense is an absolute mess, and it's extremely disappointing when Bobby Witt Jr., who was an MVP finalist last year. You're hoping would build on that, and you're hoping the offense around him, with Pasquantino, for example, would be able to pick up some of the slack. They have not. They have been just really, really bad offensively, and the Tigers have been better, I'll admit. They had kind of an up-and-down series against Milwaukee, but I do think based on the price here, I get Reagans as solid. If you want to go first 5, I don't mind Kansas City. But for the full game, this team can't hit. Like, I just feel like for the value, I got to go Tigers. I think the Tigers are a better team right now. Detroit offensively, if you want to go through the numbers, they are 5-1 at home. Kansas City is 2-7 on the road. Problem is, Detroit, though, scored 1 run the last 2 games combined. They've scored less than 2 runs in 3 of the last 4 games. So I don't really trust either team to hit the ball. I'll go with the under in this game. I see Trevor agrees with me. I just have to at least consider the fact that both offenses really are not that good right now. So I'll go with the under at 7.5. Reagans might shove, wouldn't shock me. Maybe you want the first 5 under instead, avoid the bullpens, but Reagans has been pitching very well so far this season, and I think that Joe might have found something last outing as well. So give me the under in that game at 7.5. I don't want the first 5 under, though. Probably going to open up at a juiced 4. See Chris A in the comments as well, so welcome. Nice to see you too. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the afternoon baseball, and hopefully you do enjoy the solo show here for Thursday. Moving on to the next game, you have the Marlins taking on the Phillies. Phillies are playing right now. They're up 5-1 in the 4th. Marlins already lost 6-4 despite having a ton of hits. I think the Marlins had like 14 or 13 hits. Yeah, they lost the game 6-4, and they had 8 more hits than the Diamondbacks. Ouch, that's pretty rough. But either way, point is the Phillies, assuming they'll win this game, are 11-8. So we'll see what happens. But you have Wheeler taking on Alcantara. For this one, Phillies are minus 205. You have the Marlins at +170. For the over-under, I see the line being set at around 7.5. Now, Miami offensively has been okay, at least compared to normal Miami standards. Philly this season has been fine. I'll put it that way. I mean, they're on the verge of being 7-3 at home, so at least they're better at home. But Wheeler this season's been fine. 1-1, 4.07 ERA. He was great his first 2 outings, then got destroyed by Atlanta and the Cardinals. Last 2 starts, 11 1/3, 15 hits allowed, and 9 earned runs. However, he's made 1 home start this season, 7 innings, 1 run against the Rockies. Then again, that's the Rockies, who are a fake baseball team, so can't really evaluate the current, I'd say, form of Wheeler at home because he's only pitched against one of the worst teams in the entire league. Now, Alcantara this season's 2-0 with a pretty high ERA, 4.7 ERA. He has been pitching once again okay, not going much length though. He's not pitched more than 5 2/3 in a single out in the season. Did go 5 2/3, 4 runs allowed against the Nationals, and only 1 strikeout in the last start. So both pitchers, based on name recognition, you're expecting an absolute pitcher's duel here. However, I think I might go with the over. actually. I know Wheeler, once again, was great in his only home start, but he has not been good his last two outings. Alcantara has been vulnerable, and he has been getting a lot of run support. So I actually see some runs in this game. I think 7.5 is too low. I think that Miami's bullpen could be a problem as well, which is not going to go well when you pair it with Alcantara not going much distance compared to his old self pre-injury. And Wheeler, I think he'll pitch well, but I can see him giving up some runs here or there. So I think 7.5 might be too low here based on the form of both pitchers. I understand if you're expecting one of these guys to figure it out, then maybe you want to consider an under. I'll believe in the results that I've seen so far this year. And based on what I've seen this year, this total should be 8, in my opinion. I think 7.5 is too low. I'll consider the, once again, over in this one. Whether I play it or not is a separate story, but I do think this total feels too short for the current form of these actual pitchers. So I'll go with the over in this game. See a question from Trevor, if the Marlins tend to give Philly problems. Sometimes, I mean, I feel like most, I'd say, divisional matchups tend to have that, where you have one bad team that sometimes gives a good team problems because they're so familiar with each other. So to answer your question, I'd say yes and no. I feel like they give the Phillies more problems than they should, but the Phillies still win the majority of these matchups, at least from what I remember. So I feel like it's kind of a mixed bag when it comes to these matchups. But when you get division rivals, you tend to see some unpredictable outcomes. I'll put it that way. But I'll go with the over in this game. I think this total does feel a bit too low. Moving on to the next game, you have the Reds taking on the Orioles. The Reds had that painful loss in extras today on Thursday, and the Orioles have not played yet, play in about an hour and a half against the Guardians. Now, for the pitching matchup, you have Abbott against who knows. You've undecided. Pitching for Baltimore. For the money line, though, you have Baltimore minus 155, and for the Reds, I see plus 130. For the over-under, I see 8.5 juice to the over. Now, Abbott, I don't mind. He's 1-0, 1.8 ERA. I think he's pretty solid. Went 5 innings in his first outing, only gave up 2 hits against the Pirates. For the Orioles, I don't know who's pitching, but this team has really not been that good. They're currently 7-10. Now, they were good last game. Scored 9 runs against the Guardians, but they did lose the last 2 games before that. They have lost 4 of their last 6 entering the game today. The pitching has been an absolute catastrophe. So the question is, do I want to take the Reds getting plus money, who also can't really pitch, but they burned their bullpen today, so Abbott might go a bit more distance, or do I want the Orioles with an undecided pitcher who also can't really pitch? I'll go with the Reds at plus money. I think that minus 150 in change is an insane price for Baltimore, who is just not very good. And you're looking at the offense. Yes, they can get going with Henderson, with all the guys they end up having. The Reds can too. They've been less consistent offensively, but I do think that they have enough firepower to capitalize on a potential spot starter in this game. Abbott, I actually like. I think Abbott's pretty good. And if we're looking at the Reds burning a ton of bullpen guys today, that's not that bad. That can result in Abbott getting more run as the starter in this game. So I don't mind the Reds' first 5, actually. I think the Reds with Abbott can get a decent amount of length in the start, and I think Abbott's pretty good. But for Baltimore, their pitching is a problem in general. They don't even know who's pitching in this game, and we'll see what the bullpen story is for the game later today. So based on that, minus 150 for 2 teams that I think are pretty comparable right now, I think it's an insane price. I'll go with, once again, the dog here. Give me the Reds at plus 130 with whoever they're going to end up throwing out there for Baltimore. I'm assuming the better pitcher. I saw Grayson ended up having another shoulder issue working out today, so he's still going to be out indefinitely. So Baltimore's rotation has serious, serious problems, and we'll see how much bullpen gets used because Sagano, I believe, is pitching today, and he doesn't really go much length. So we'll see what happens, but give me the Reds getting plus money in this matchup. Before we get into any of the other games on the Friday card, quick reminder, they're brought to you by Edge Boots. If you ever tried to deposit money, once again, into an account from your bank right before a big bet, or if you ever needed to get cash at 2 a.m., and you've had your card denied, then that's definitely annoying, and that will not happen with Edge Boost because they are the first ever bank account built for bettors. You could get fast, reliable access to your money. With ease, it's very easy to move money where and when you need it, and you can also get it without the delays that come with traditional banks. You also get cash rewards. Every time you deposit into a qualified gambling account, you'll earn up cash rewards up to 0.5%. They also have a ton of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. Go to EdgeBoost.bet, promo code SGPN, EdgeBoost.bet, promo code SGPN. Sign up for your Edge Boost card today. We're also brought to you by MyBookie, because MyBookie.ag is the place in every sport, including the NBA playoffs. They also have the NHL playoffs if you are a hockey guy, and they have baseball as well. They have props in every game. You could also use it for a ton of locations. You could also use crypto for letting fast payouts and use deposits. Head to MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN, once again, promo code SGPN for $1,000 maximum deposit match up to 100%. So once again, 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. MLB promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finish going with the first couple games on the Friday card. Time to keep it rolling with the remainder of the slate. Moving on to an AL East matchup between the Yankees and the Rays. For this one, the Yankees are basically a pick'em with the Rays. You have Rodon against Rasmussen. For the over-under, I see the line being set at around, I see 8.5. Now, Tampa offensively has been quietly pretty good, especially at home this season, even though they did lose the game 1-0 yesterday. They've been pretty up and down. They're 8-10, but they have scored at least 4 runs in, I believe, 4 of their last 5. So or 5 of their last 6. So 5 of their last 6, they've been hitting the ball well, but did lose 1-0 yesterday as Newcomb and the Red Sox bullpen shut them down. Rodon's had a pretty weird season where strikeouts have been pretty good, but he has been giving up runs, and Yankees fans still hate him. As a Yankees fan, I still don't like him, but he's 1-3, 5.48 ERA. Last couple starts, he has given up at least 4 earned in 3 straight. 4 runs against Arizona, 5 earned against the Tigers, and 4 earned against the Giants. So once again, not very good. Has given up at least 1 home run in every outing, so it appears that this free agency signing has been really problematic. Now, Rasmussen has been amazing. He is currently 1-0 with a .6 ERA. The problem is he doesn't really go any length. He's going exactly 5 innings in all 3 outings, so you might see a decent amount of Rays bullpen in this game. Now, for this matchup, Tampa and New York, I think, are going to be involved in a couple of very interesting games in the series because the Yankees offensively have been okay. They're very home run reliant, so if you keep the ball in the ballpark, you should be doing okay. And Rodon, I don't think is really that good. So you got an interesting matchup where it's -110 apiece, and I understand it. But for the actual game itself, give me Rays first 5. I'll ignore the bullpens. I'll ignore all the other factors. Give me Rasmussen against Rodon, and I'll ignore everything else. I think you're getting a pretty good number, whatever it's going to be in the first 5. I think Rasmussen's a solid pitcher. Rodon is a mess, and he tends to give up a lot of home runs as well. I'll ignore everything else about this game. The total, I would consider the under, because the Yankees are so home run dependent that if they don't hit any, I don't think they're going to score. And Tampa offensively, there is a path where Rodon strikes out a bunch of guys, but I just don't trust him enough. So I'd consider the under at 8.5, but I do think I'd rather take first 5. I'll fade Rodon. I'll back Rasmussen. Simple and easy, and I'll get out of Dodge. So give me the Rays first 5. Trevor mentioned the Yankees at a cheap price. I get it. It is Rodon, though, who I think is understandably, I'd say, low with the markets. The markets don't really like him, and I get it because he's been bad in 3 straight starts. Give me Rasmussen first 5. He might only go 5, but that's kind of why I want the first 5 innings, because I'll ignore the bullpen entirely. I see Maine talking about the over-unders here. At the end of the day, once again, I cover it for the sake of covering because I have lines in it. If you want to bet over-unders closer to game time, you can. But it's something I have betting lines on, so I am going to talk about it. Plus, some people bet on totals, so at least I'm going to mention it. I prefer sides, of course, the day before. But if I have totals, I'll talk about it. You don't have to tail it. You can wait till closer to game time. Anyway, moving on to the next game here. You have the Mariners taking on the Blue Jays. Mariners had whatever that win was today in extras against the Reds. For the Blue Jays, they have been pretty good. They're 11-8, 7-3 at home. You have Francis going up against Wu. For the over-under here, I see the line being set at around 8 flat. Now, Wu this season's been good, 2-0, 2.84 ERA. Francis has been kind of up and down, 1-2, 3.71 ERA. But he has been fine. I mean, he gave up 5 runs the last start. 2 of them were unearned, though. But the point is, at home, he's made 1 outing, 6 innings, 2 runs against the Nationals. So I think Francis is fine. I think that Wu's pretty good. I'll go with the under in this game at 8. I'll dare Seattle to show up again offensively when they scored 11 on Thursday. I think you're going to see a lower scoring game. I think for the pricing, though, I understand why Seattle's favored, but give me Toronto. Seattle has not played many road games. They've played 19 games this season, only 6 games on the road. That win against the Reds on Thursday was only their 2nd road win of the year. Toronto's 7-3. Vlad finally hit a home run. Congratulations. Maybe he'll keep it rolling. Maybe he'll go on a hot streak. But I think Francis and Wu might pitch a bunch of zeros early. The game might get interesting late. But I think that Toronto's offense can break through at some point against this bullpen. Seattle's bullpen has not been great this season at all. So give me Toronto to eventually find a way. I think that this price is definitely reasonable at around, I see an even money on FanDuel. Give me even money on Toronto and what could be a coin flip game. I think it is a pretty decent option based on the price. Moving on to the Battle of the Sox. You have the White Sox against the Red Sox. We saw the White Sox fare pretty well against this team about a week ago. For the pitching matchup, you have the White Sox using Perez against the we don't know undecided pitching for the Red Sox. No lines at all in this game. White Sox just lost 8-0. Red Sox, I don't know if they actually play today. They are off today, so something to keep in mind. For the matchup, though, Perez has been really good this season. He is 1-0 with a 1.59 ERA. However, the White Sox are 4-13. Most importantly, they are currently 0 on the road, 0-6. Now, the question is, what will the Red Sox be laying without knowing who's pitching? I don't know, but I'm blindly going to guess at least minus 160 because this White Sox team is awful. So we'll see how they look. But the White Sox fared well against this team at home about a week ago, as the White Sox did win once again 2 of those 3 games. White Sox then ended up losing the final game 3-1 of that series. Perez has been good. I'll admit it. But I think that Boston, even though Bregman did leave the last game, or he did not play because of his child being born, I believe. Point is, with him probably making the lineup for this game, I think that they are in a good spot to bounce back at home. The offense has been up and down. The White Sox, though, have scored less than 4 runs in at least 5 straight. I got to pull this up. They have scored less than 4 runs in 5 straight. So this offense is awful. They've actually scored less than 4 runs in, I got to pull this up here. What is that, 5 in a row? I believe 10 of their last 11. They've scored less than 4 runs. This team can't hit. So give me the Red Sox, maybe on the run line. If you want to go for the under and pick Perez to shove and dare the White Sox to do anything, I don't mind that either. But this team can't hit, and the Red Sox should be motivated after losing a series to this team about a week ago. Give me the Red Sox minus 1.5. Will I bet this? No, because I can't. There is no actual listed pitcher. But I don't want to take the White Sox. I can't do it. If you want to go for Perez in the first 5, maybe Boston team total under in the first 5, you back Perez, you ignore the White Sox entirely. But this team stinks. This team is awful. I think at the end of the day, you're looking at a White Sox team that is arguably worse than last year's team on paper, and that's tough to do. Give me the Red Sox. I think they'll get the job done, but I think that I'm going to have to wait to actually see who's pitching before I actually pull the trigger. If you want to back Perez, maybe first 5 team total under for Boston. I don't mind that. But I cannot back a team that can't get to 4 runs on a regular basis. I see Christy mentioning that the Red Sox run line is now at plus 110. Let me check FanDuel, actually, because they tend to post lines early. Maybe they actually posted lines in the last 5 minutes. So let me just check this real quick. For the game tomorrow, do I see the Red Sox listed? Sorry, trying to find it. I actually do see lines. Okay, so the Red Sox are minus 178. I thought they'd be around 170. You have the over-under at 9. For the Red Sox, minus 1.5 at plus 110. That would be my main approach for the side. However, if you want to look at the first 5 under for Boston, decent number, though, because it's at 9 as the full game total, and they're laying 180. So maybe back Perez, Red Sox first 5 under, pick a low-scoring start to the game. But the White Sox are really, really bad. And I think the Red Sox find a way to win this game and get some revenge after what happened in the last series in Chicago over the past week. Moving on to the next game, you have the Cardinals taking on the Mets. Cardinals have been surprisingly decent so far this season. Mets have been, I'll say, meh at this point. Soto's been underachieving. Alonso's been great, so that's kind of been the storyline for the Mets. Lindor's been okay as well, but it feels like Alonso is kind of carrying this offense right now. For the actual pitching matchup, though, you have Mikolas against Peterson. Mets are minus 165. You have the Cardinals at plus 140. For the over-under, I see the line being set at around, I see about 8 flat. So first glance, Mikolas with a total of 8. Give me the over. That's kind of where I'm at. Peterson, I think, is okay. 1-1, 2.7 ERA. Last outing, he was fine. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Did give up 7 hits, though, against Oakland. But that is against the A's, but that was the A's. So once again, grain of salt. Cardinals, though, might be surprised. Number 1 in the league in hits per game. Cardinals are great at making contact. I can see them scoring some runs here. Mikolas, I think, will get into trouble here. I'll look at the over in this game. I think Mikolas, subjectively speaking, not good, and we faded him on this podcast for a long time. 0-2, 9 ERA. and on the road this season, ERA of 27. Only one outing, though, 2 2/3, 9 runs, 8 earned. And then he was against the Phillies last start, 5 innings, 3 runs. So, point is, he doesn't go length, and he's not very good. But I'll go with the over in this one. I see runs. The Cardinals offensively, once again, they find ways to just really make the opposing pitchers work. Their offense is kind of death by 1,000 paper cuts. They will just hit single after single and work counts and get guys on base and move the actual line in the lineup. I like how they're constructed right now. I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team, but I do think the Cardinals offensively can give any starting pitcher problems because they work counts and they get on base. And I do think that's enough to get to Peterson. So give me the over in this game. I think 8's a bit too low. I think you're looking at a spot where even though I agree with Trevor, the Mets offense right now is not very good, I will dare Mikolas to beat me. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't see many strikeouts. I see a lot of balls in play here. Give me the over. I think 8 is too short for this matchup. Moving on to the next game, you have the Twins taking on the Braves. Two, as far as I'm concerned, bad teams right now. The Twins are 7-12. The Braves said, hold my beer, and they're 5-13. They wasted a good start by Strider yesterday as they ended up losing as Bassett was incredible. I think the Braves struck out, 19 times yesterday? It was 17 or 19. I think it was 19 times against the Blue Jays, which is embarrassing. But this Atlanta team's in shambles. I mean, they're 5-13. They're 2-11 on the road. They struck out 19 times yesterday. Like, that's so embarrassing. But anyway, for this matchup, you have Paddock pitching for Minnesota, who was actually okay against the Tigers last start, but still not very good in general. 0-2, 9.49 ERA. Against Elder, who's 0-1 with a 7.2 ERA. Atlanta, though, is laying. They're about minus 150 for the value on the dog here. You have the Twins at plus 125. For the over-under, I see the line being set at around, I see 8.5. Over. Really? 8.5? I know that Atlanta really can't hit, but you give me these two pitchers, I'll take an over. Elder, I don't think is very good, and I think that the Twins offense can get to him. And I think that Paddock's awful. And Atlanta offensively, at least is okay at home. They're 3-2 at home, which means that they're the opposite of the Mariners. Mariners have played barely any road games, and Atlanta's barely played any home games. The Braves have played 18 games this season, and so far, 13 of them have been on the road. Give me the Braves to bounce back at home, but I'll go with the over. I don't trust either pitcher to do anything in this game. Trevor's mentioning that both offenses have been bad lately. I agree. The offenses have been really bad. But at some point, I got to at least look myself in the mirror and be willing to not back either of these pitchers. I'm going to pass on this game because I think both these teams suck. But I think that these pitchers are also not very good. And taking it under and then watching Paddock and Elder pitch might make me also want to gouge my eyes out. So I think, Trevor, you're kind of stuck. Either you back both offenses that you hate and you're miserable, or you back both pitchers, which you hate, and you're also miserable. So this is a pure pass for me. I don't want to back either team. I think these teams suck. But I'll go with the over if I had to pick. I'll dare either team to actually pitch well with these starters. For the side, I guess I'll go Atlanta. They're at home. Hopefully they bounce back. But damn, these teams are really bad. Yeah, it's kind of my thoughts there. These teams right now are a joke. Moving on to the next game, you have the Dodgers taking on the Rangers. Dodgers did what they need to do, which is get back on track, beating up on the Rockies. Now, against the Rangers, we'll see how they do. Texas has played well against the Angels over the last few days, but they're currently 8-1 at home. DeGrom's pitching against Yamamoto. For the actual money line, the Dodgers are minus 150. The Rangers are plus 125. For the over-under, I see the line being set at 8. So DeGrom's been okay this season. He's currently 0-0, classic DeGrom line with no wins and no losses, with an ERA of 4.3. Last couple outings, though, he has been getting roughed up a little bit. 5 2/3, 4 runs against the Rays, and 4 innings, 3 runs against the Mariners. Has given up 2 home runs in each of the last 2 starts. Walked 4 guys against Seattle. Not a good sign. Yamamoto, though, has been really, really good. 2-1, 1.23 ERA. So the question is, do I think that a Texas will get the job done against Yamamoto, who's given up no earned runs in 2 straight starts, maybe behind DeGrom pitching well? Or do I think the Rangers are going to struggle against a Dodgers offense that has kind of been waking up lately? Then again, Rockies pitching staff it better have woken up, and you're looking at the Rangers maybe not scoring enough runs to keep pace. I think I'm going to go with option B. I understand the intrigue of taking DeGrom at plus money, but that's pricing in old DeGrom. DeGrom has not looked like his old self, and that makes sense. He's had some injuries over the years, but based on current form of pitcher, I gotta go Yamamoto. No earned runs in 2 straight. Like, he is shoving right now. And I do think the Dodgers bullpen has been problematic, so maybe the Rangers find a way to come back late. Give me Dodgers first 5 run line. I'll take the Dodgers minus half a run in the first 5. The Rangers have been winning games, but they're not scoring many runs. Once again, they're 8-1 at home, so I do recognize how good they've played at home, but I do think when you're looking at the actual run totals for the Rangers recently, beat the Angels 3-1, beat the Angels 4-0, but they have scored less than 5 runs in 5 straight games. They've scored less than 4 runs in 4 of the last 5. So I think you're looking at an offense that can't really hit right now that is winning courtesy of good pitching. So I don't mind the under in this game, but I think for the value, I will take Yamamoto against DeGrom by themselves. I'll ignore the bullpens. Give me the better starting pitcher right now. DeGrom walking guys and giving up 2 home runs and back-to-back starts is extremely concerning when you have this lineup coming to town. Give me Yamamoto in the first 5 minus half a run on this one. I'll go with that. Moving on, though, to the next game. You have the A's taking on the Brewers. Now, the A's are off of a pretty good series against the White Sox, so asterisk might not count against the White Sox. You have Jin, though, going up against Peralta. 2 good pitching stats, actually, for these pitchers. Now, for the money line, the Brewers are at minus 160. A's are at plus 135. Ginn, though, 1-0, 1.69 ERA, and Peralta's 1-1 with a 2.31 ERA. Milwaukee, though, has been pretty good at home so far this season. Peralta's given up less than 3 earned in all 4 starts, so he has been consistent so far this season. As for Ginn, relatively unknown guy, but so far this season, once again, good. However, only 1 outing, so tough to fully evaluate. The point is Peralta is more proven based on his overall career sample size and the numbers this season. He's made more appearances. So I think that I trust Peralta more than Ginn. Ginn had 1 good outing out of 1 outing. I need to see a bit more in terms of sample. Milwaukee, though, has been pretty good at home. 7-3 at home. The A's, though, are quietly 7-3 on the road. But beating up on the White Sox means nothing to me. The Brewers did manage to come back after that schoolball shoving in the first game of that series. Gave up 1 run in the last 2 games combined of that series. I like this team at home, though. I think Milwaukee's the better team. The problem is, do I want to lay 160? Not really. I think Peralta pitches well, though. The Brewers bullpen, though, is a mess. Do I want to go with the Brewers first 5 minus half a run here? I might be interested in it. I mean, the over-under in this game, maybe the under. If you want to go for that, you can find that line available at around 8. I'd consider the under in this game. I might just back Peralta, though. Give me Peralta first 5 minus half a run. Ginn needs to show me a bit more in terms of sample. He was good against the Giants. Let's see if he does it again. Peralta's been, objectively speaking, solid and consistent over 4 starts. Good enough for me. Give me Milwaukee at home in the first 5 minus half a run in this game. Moving on to the next game, actually, 3 games left. You have the Padres taking on the Astros. For this one, you have Hart against Gusto. You have the Padres at plus 110, the Astros at minus 130. For the over-under, I see it being set at 9 flat. Now, Gusto has been a bullpen guy mostly. Did start last game. Did not pitch well, as the Angels scored 3 runs against him in 4 innings, but we'll see how long he goes in this one. For Hart, pretty interesting season for him. 2-0, 5.4 ERA. Pretty up and down, though. He was very good first outing, 5 innings, 2 runs against the Guardians. Then 2/3 of an inning, 5 runs against the Cubs. He was awful. Walked 4 guys in the first inning. Then against the Rockies, 6 innings, 1 hit, no walks, and no runs. So tough to evaluate what to expect, but so far this season, he's been very good at home and awful on the road. The Astros, though, can't hit at home. It's why they're 4-5 at home. So the question is, the Padres are 15-4, but they're only 3-3 on the road. They're amazing in Petco. Will they show up for this game, or will Hart get destroyed? I think I'll go Padres. The Astros, I think, are just not doing enough for me to want to back them. Altuve's been great. I'll point it out. The fielding can be a bit of a concern, but offensively, he's been batting .311 with 3 home runs. He's been solid. You're looking at Jordan, who's been very quiet so far. I'd say dangerously quiet for Houston. And looking at the actual lineup, do they have many guys that are performing? And the answer is a resounding no. In fact, Altuve is the only guy batting above 271. You're looking at Jordan, he's batting 224. Jordan has 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, which is pretty good, but I just don't feel like many guys are doing much with this team. I mean, Christian Walker, they signed. I mean, right now it looks like the Jose Abreu signing because he's batting 154. It's been a mess for this offense, especially at home. San Diego has a lot of talent. I mean, Machado, we know Tatis has had a great start to the year. They have a lot of guys that can't contribute, and I do think that the Padres are the better team right now, obviously. Give me San Diego at plus money. I just don't trust Houston. If they had a better pitcher on the mound, maybe, because I understand wanting to fade Hart. But Gusto was not good last start. So I think you're looking at 2 pitchers that are pretty underwhelming in this outing. So maybe the over is worth a look. But the Astros can't hit. So give me San Diego at plus money. I'll take the team that has one of the best records in the league at plus money in the spot. Moving on to, this is going to be a pretty interesting series between 2 bad teams. Nationals taking on the Rockies. The Rockies, we know, are awful. They ended up firing their hitting coach. They are also a laughingstock, and we'll see how they do in this one. They are 3-15. You have Gore pitching against Dollander. For the actual matchup, the Nationals are minus 135. The Rockies are plus 115. For the over-under, I see the line being set at 8.5. First glance, over. I think 8.5 is too short. I understand Colorado is a bad hitting team. They're in Coors, though. They've not played many games at home. They have played 18 games. Only 6 are at home. So I think they can perform decently offensively with the altitude. Gore has been up and down this season. 1-2, 3.52 ERA. Not good last outing, though. Give up 4 runs and 8 hits in 6 innings against the Marlins. So not exactly a good showing there. But I know Gore can strike out a lot of guys. Sometimes command could be an issue. But I do think at the end of the day, getting into even a somewhat high-scoring game in Coors is really not asking much. 8.5 with Dollander pitching. Like, the Nationals offensively are bad. I get it. They scored no runs today against Heaney. But in Coors Field, the total of 8.5 with these pitchers, I think is too low. I understand if you want to back Gore, maybe you want to go for the Nationals team total over instead, and you want to avoid Gore entirely. But 8.5 with Gore against Dollander? Really? In Coors? Like, that total just feels wrong to me. That total should be like 9.5 or 10. I'll go with the over in that one. I think 8.5 is too low, even though these offenses have not been good lately. I think that price is definitely intriguing. I expect that line to climb. 8.5 in Coors, just on principle, just feels way too low. Give me the over in that one. Might be a snow game, though. Keep an eye out for the snow over there in Coors. Moving on to the last game on the card. You have the Giants taking on the Angels in a California battle. For this one, you have Webb pitching against Anderson. For the money line, the Giants are minus 155. The Angels are plus 130. For the over-under, I see the line being set at 8 flat. Now, Anderson so far this season has been fine. We know that he does pitch to contact. But this year, he has been striking out some guys. He has been striking out more guys in each start. Went from 4 to 5 to 6. Has given up 2 runs combined in his last 2 starts. Crazy stat, though. Given up 1 hit in each of his last 2 starts. Now, he has not gone 6+ yet this season, so we might see some Angels bullpen. So you might end up getting some Joyce into Jansen action here late in the game, but they're 3-0 in his starts. As for Webb, we know that he's 2-0, 2.63 ERA. We know that year in, year out, he's much better at home than on the road. This year is basically the same. This year, a 3.71 ERA on the road. At home, 1 home start, ERA of 0 because he's a Logan Webb. Now, the Angels have done nothing offensively this entire series. Against the Rangers, they have been just non-existent. As for the Giants, they've been performing well offensively against the Phillies. Right now, they're on the verge of splitting this 4-game set, but they have scored at least 4 runs in, just doing the math here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight. They have 3 runs right now in the 6th inning, so we'll see if they get to it again to extend the streak, but this team's been hitting. And Anderson can give up some contact. Now, Webb, I said before, is always good at home. On the road, he can be pretty up and down. Do I really want to go with an under though with these teams? I think I'll go with the over in this one. I think at the end of the day, I'm looking at a spot where Webb, I think, will look okay, but I do think the Angels have enough talent to potentially get a couple runs across. And Anderson has been fine. Doesn't go distance, But the Giants also, I think, can struck good at bats. They've been in good form offensively. I think the Giants can get the 4. I think the Angels can get the 4 as well in theory. I think it's a good spot for the Angels. As Trevor's mentioning, cross-country trip here for San Francisco. It's really not a good spot for the Giants, and they are playing right now, so they do have to fly that day. The Angels, by comparison, do play Texas, so not as big of a travel spot, but they do play the late game, so you have less time to actually travel. I'll go with the over. I'll tell you right now, though, I'm not going to bet this game. Not interested in these two teams, but I do think the over is worth consideration at 8. Feels a bit low with Webb on the road, so I'll go with the over in that one. Anyway, let's go wrap it up for the actual preview of every game on the Friday card. Now it's time for the lock and all picks. Before we get to that, though, quick reminder that we're brought to you by our sponsor, Roanoke Fans. You can play the Roanoke Pick'em for a chance to win your times or money. You can also, once again, use the sign-up code MLB SGPN to go special first time deposit offer up to $1,000 bonus cash on fancy promo code MLB SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm because they're the home of ad-back picks and props. They also have models for Major League Baseball. They also have models for NBA and golf. You could also build your own model, which is simple and easy to do. You could also use one of the 2 discount codes they have, 25% off a monthly deal or a 50% off discount for the annual deal, 25% off the monthly subscription using the promo code SGPN25 or 50% off the annual subscription with the promo code SGPN50. That's Rhythm, RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished going through all the games for the Friday card. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. Unfortunately, because I have no co-host for this show, I actually have to come up with it now. Usually I would wait for my co-host to talk, and then I would do it afterwards. However, for the actual game itself, or games themselves, do I want to go under in that Royals game? A part of me is intrigued by it. I thought about maybe doing Dodgers first 5, but I don't know what that price is going to be. I think I'll go with the under, actually, in that Royals and Tigers game at 7.5. I just don't trust either offense right now. Tigers scored 1 run the last 2 games combined against Milwaukee, and Reagan's has been an absolute monster on the mound. Job, I know, is still young. He was good last outing. The Royals, though, got swept against the Yankees because they cannot hit. So both offenses are bad. I think both pitchers can go well here. Give me the under, 7.5 here. And what I think is a pitcher's duel between 2 offenses right now that cannot hit. That'll be my lock. For my dog, that's actually a minus 115 at the moment, by the way. For my dog, what do I want to go with here? I thought about the Dodgers run line because I do think they can, once again, perform pretty well against DeGrom, who's been kind of underwhelming lately. Rays, I thought about maybe if I want to go for the first 5 minus half a run. That could be an option too. I could go for an alt over in the Phillies Marlins game. I got a couple options here that I could go with. You know what? I think I am going to go with the Dodgers here. I'll go with the Dodgers minus 1.5. I can find that at plus 120. I'll take that as my dog. DeGrom's just not been that good. I understand the Rangers are really good at home. They also can hit. Like, just looking at this team play, they're winning a bunch of low-scoring games. DeGrom, though, has been giving up walks recently, giving up home runs recently. Dodgers got the, I'd say, tune-up games they needed against Colorado to reset and to get back on track. The offense looks good. Yamamoto's looked incredible. And I think that the Dodgers might only give up like 2 runs in this game. Give me the Dodgers minus 1.5 here, or plus 120. Think they'll win this game like 5-2, give or take. But I like the actual price with the most talented team in the league against a team that can't hit right now. That'll be my dog. Anyway, let's go wrap it up for the actual games on Friday. Once again, apologies that I'm going solo for the pod, but Dylan could not make it. We'll be back tomorrow. I believe it's Lonte and I for the actual show. Until next time, though, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.